Welcome to the BetterPears podcast. Join Dr. Jason Fujikawa for his insights on theology, philosophy, culture, and the verbal expressions we use to relate meaning and reality to one another. Make no mistake, this is a podcast for nerds, but particular nerds who are searching for old wisdom made ever new. To learn more about the BetterPears cultural empire, please visit BetterPears.com. Episode 5, Cyrus of Persia. Cyrus of Persia was half median, which is not to say that he was half average, but rather that half his lineage was traceable to the Medes, through his mother, the Princess Mandane. Still, the story of Cyrus comes to us largely in two halves: the history of Herodotus of Halicarnassus, and the biblical accounts of the exilic and post-exilic periods, 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Isaiah, and Daniel. His role in the cosmic restoration of the human family, the history of salvation, is an affirmation of secondary agents, the instrumental use of human weakness to reveal divine strength. Cyrus was born to the Princess Mandane of the Medes, and his father Cambyses of the Persians. However, Cyrus's maternal grandfather, King Astyages, troubled by the series of dreams that his daughter's child would rule over him, has the infant separated from his mother at birth, arranging for Cyrus to be killed. In a situation which appears to mirror the planned exposure and death of a famous royal infant Theban, the servant selected to enact the heinous deed, Harpagus, does not protest the king's command directly, but fearful of vengeance once the king is succeeded, resolves at last to delegate the matter to yet another subordinate, Mithridates, a cowherd, whose wife had the Persian name Spaka, but who was known as Kuno, for Spaka in Persian means female dog, which in Greek is Kuna. This last point seems to be a special fixation of Herodotus, as he later remarks in his account of Cyrus of a rumor which had developed that Cyrus was saved from his exposure as a child by a female dog, a proto-Romulus-Remus upbringing. Given the life of adversities overcome, the relentless military victories, it is quite possible that the phrase, son of a female dog, originated with this Cyrus. Returning to Herodotus' account, Mithridates is convinced by Kuno, his wife, to swap the stillborn son that she had just delivered in his absence with the young prince and raise Cyrus as their own. Their natural son would get a royal burial, and they would benefit from the blessings of their new son. This all worked well for 10 years, until Cyrus played the game of kings with the other boys in his village, and was chosen to rule them all as the eponymous king. The son of a nobleman was among those playing, and he became insolent, as noble boys are often wont to do. Cyrus, the putative cowherd's son, has the noble boy swiftly beaten. This outrage reaches the attention of King Astyages, who interrogates Cyrus and immediately recognizes the family countenance and royal manner of comportment. The deception of the servants is uncovered. King Astyages is able to reconcile with his daughter, who was not a little put off by her father killing her child immediately after birth. The servant Harpagus is repaid for his deception by being tricked into eating the flesh of his son, whom the king has murdered. This rather gruesome episode sets the stage for vengeful Harpagus to counsel and assist in Cyrus's overthrow of his grandfather, and in so doing, fulfill the dream that so obsessed the wicked king in the first place. What are we to make of this Persian king indeed Persian emperor, by the time he arrives to set the Jewish exiles free in Babylon. It is likely that Cyrus, more than any other historical antecedent, influenced the minds of Jewish zealots in the 1st century AD. Even the Maccabean revolt had limited success. What Cyrus accomplished from outside God's chosen people, the Messiah, it was believed, would accomplish perfectly, but this time from within. Viewed from this perspective, Cyrus was a great source of confusion to some Jews at the arrival of Jesus Christ, and yet there is something more to him in this context, something connected to his name. Herodotus wrote in Ionic Greek, a dialect or form of the language which varies from the Attic Greek of Athens, largely in the length selection and graphical location of vowels. And so Cyrus's name, Kouros, can, without much squinting and mental gymnastics, arrive at the Attic Kouros, or the Epic and Ionic Koros, which both mean boy, lad, or son. While Cyrus is not the only ancient ruler in Herodotus' work to receive a melodramatic vignette of his rule, Cyrus' story is uncharacteristically focused on his childhood, his early vulnerability amid obscurity. The bloodlust of King Astyages, for the sake of his continued power, is rivaled in our minds only by King Herod and the slaughtering of the innocents. Furthermore, this boy Cyrus, who became a king, so impressed his personal character upon the office that Kouros came to mean power and authority. The adjectival form Kurios took on the substantive meaning master or lord, similar to how the Roman surname Caesar, Kaiser, became associated with the office of emperor long after the Julio-Claudians. The story of Cyrus, indeed the historical person of Cyrus, reminds us that powerful kings were once powerless boys. And more importantly, we are reminded of the grand exception to this rule upon rulers, that power arises from impotence. You see, there is that one king, eternally begotten, who freely chose to enter our history as a boy of lowly means under the care of a foster father. Sought out for death by the order of a wicked tyrant, a boy who became a man, was not tricked into being sacrificed, but laid down his life and offers his flesh as heaven-sent food. That King of Kings, that Kurios Kurion, set all the captives free. Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison. The views expressed by BetterPears contributors are theirs alone and do not necessarily reflect the views of BetterPears, its parent company, or any company or organizations affiliated with the contributors. For more information to support BetterPears or to shop for BetterPears merchandise, please visit betterpears.com.